Hello there, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video regarding the exclusive buyer agency agreement. So we'll walk through these 6 pages, and if you have any questions after you've watched this video, please feel free to contact me. So the exclusive buyer agency agreement is an agreement between you, the buyer, and Keller Williams Ballantyne, the firm. Okay, so that's what that first paragraph is about. Next in the bold, it does mention that you have had an to review the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure, which you should have reviewed in the video prior to this one. The type of property is more than likely residential. And then the effective agreement. This is basically saying that we will be in this agreement until it ends, unless one or both of us decides to terminate the agreement. I typically do a 6-month buyer agency agreement. So unless I've already talked with you about doing a longer one for various reasons like new construction and things like that, then this is probably a 6-month agreement. Number 4 is the compensation of firm. I do not charge a fee to represent buyers. So on that first line, when you get your buyer agency agreement to review, it will say firm acknowledges a receipt of a non-refundable retainer fee in the amount of $0. Okay. And then after that in B, it will say buyer agrees that firm's fee for services hereunder shall be in the amount of, and what I write there is dictated in the MLS, which means, or by the builder, which means that the seller pays my compensation, not the buyer. Okay, and the rest of that kind of goes to that as well. This little blank here under II at the top of the screen there says if within, and I put 30 days there, this is kind of an umbrella clause, but if within 30 days of the expiration of this agreement, the buyer enters into a contract to acquire property introduced to the buyer during the time of this agreement by firm or any third party, unless the buyer has entered into a valid buyer agency agreement with another real estate firm, that basically says that I would be entitled to compensation for that property. Okay, we're gonna just kind of, a lot of this stuff is self-explain, a lot of this stuff is self-explanatory. Apologies for that. But anyway, but I'm going to hit the high points. Other potential buyers, that clause just states that I do have other buyers. It is possible that I will show the same buyer another property that I showed you as well. The firm's duties under here, and a lot of this is also covered in the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure. So you can read through the firm's duties there. It's all pretty straightforward. Disclosure of buyer's name and mailing address. I will have to disclose your name and mailing address on the offer to purchase if you decide to purchase a property. I do believe I have to put your mailing address on this form as well. Alrighty, and then here is our non-discrimination clause under number 8. Okay, the buyer's duties. So what are you responsible for in our relationship here? The first thing is the most important thing, and that is working exclusively with this firm and myself during the term of this agreement. Okay, and then immediately referring to firm information about any properties that you may have an interest in. So in the market that we're in, we certainly need to let me know as soon as possible if there are some properties that you're interested in viewing. And then the rest of that is pretty straightforward. Other professional advice as a buyer, there will be multiple people that we bring into the transaction in order to get you to the closing table. So I may have already recommended a lender, may have already recommended an inspection company, that sort of thing. Those are other professionals that we'll bring into the transaction. There's a form that you'll fill out, or that I'll fill out, that says these are the folks that I brought to the transaction and suggested, and you either went with them or you did not. So that's part of the transaction as well. We just want to make sure that everybody that I recommend is documented. Then these 3 blocks here are just saying that you are acknowledging receipt of the sample of the offer to purchase and contract, which I believe will be the video right after this one. Questions and answers on home inspections, again, next video. And then the sample professional services disclosure and election. So you'll receive videos on those also. Home warranty, I do not have an agreement with a home warranty company. So that blank will be NA. I do not receive any compensation from home warranty companies if you do decide to purchase a home warranty. Confidentiality of offers, can't share your offer with anyone else, and I can't share anyone else's offer with you. Additional provisions, that's typically going to be an NA. Typically don't have any additional provisions. Dual agency is if I represent you in the sale of one of my listings. So dual agency is a one agent working both sides of the transaction. Now the firm's role is dual agent. I'm a part of Keller Williams Ballantine. There are about 500 agents there. If I show you a listing from another agent in my firm, then the firm is acting as a dual agent, okay? Because the firm's agreement is with you as the buyer and the firm's agreement is with the seller as well. Okay, we do want to allow dual agency on the firm level. So the first checkbox here gives you the opportunity to authorize the firm to act as a dual agent representing both the buyer and the seller, meaning that I can show you listings for agents that are in my office. We don't want to discount those 500 listings. All right, dual agency compensation, that will say 6%. Now, what that means is that if I have a listing that you make an offer on, and if the seller is okay with me controlling the whole transaction, then I will be paid 6%, but that does come from the seller. So that in no way obligates you to pay anything. It's just acknowledging that you know that I'll be getting paid 6% for representing both the buyer and the seller in the sale of one of my listings. Mediation, that's simply saying that we would go to mediation before we go to litigation. All right, entire agreement changes and termination. Either one of us can terminate this agreement at any time by notifying the other party in writing. So that you can fire me and I can fire you. Then hopefully neither of those will happen. Surveillance, it is just want you to be mindful that as we tour homes, we may be being monitored by video surveillance. Audio surveillance is prohibited. Photographs and videos, we shouldn't be taking photographs and videos in other people's houses and only use the photographs that are available online. Wire fraud warning, state of North Carolina wants you to know that wire fraud is real. So do not send your wiring instructions to anyone while we're in this transaction. Yes. Oh, and I will never ask you for your wiring instructions. So there will never be an email from Keller Williams asking you for banking information. The attorney shouldn't be asking you for banking information. Okay. And then this is where you sign all of the things. If you have any questions about this buyer agency agreement, it is pretty straightforward, but definitely let me know so that we can address those. And when you have a moment, please sign and we will be able to go from there. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm sure I'll talk with you soon.